For when people pray to the gods and they conquerors, and practically every president's a money launderer. From where the only place democracy is acceptable is if America's candidate is electable. And they might even have a black president, but he's useless because he does not control the economy.
You know, you'll see people from Ireland being enslaved by the British and being used and destroyed and having their culture completely taken over and having them beaten down as a society, having paramilitary death squads come in there. That's what happened in Central America.
About Jews or Muslims or Christians, this is a land issue. Northern Ireland is not about Catholics and Protestants, it's about the motherfucking land that you people decided to steal and keep as your own.
Reverse age commercial, that equals silence, anarchist, violent, reactionary, violent, curse music, out of a red violent, only Republicans I fuck with, live in Northern Ireland.
For example, I'm gonna go to Northern Ireland or something. You can't characterize Irish people by Guinness, you know what I mean? They've been living with an occupation on the hands of the British for years, who decided, oh, you know what, we'll give you people democracy, and then we're gonna bring in all these people from the home island, and we'll put them here in Northern Ireland, and then we're gonna redistrict everything. Yo, this is Immortal Technique, and right now you're watching Peace, Unity, and Having Fun, a DVD. We're talking about some serious topics. This is probably the darkest chapter in what we discussed, or the most heavy, advanced placement. If you're an ignorant motherfucker, you might want to skip this portion of the DVD. James Connolly, who wrote Aaron's Hope, people who said the natural order of our society here, of our tribal society, of our indigenous society, was to not view property in that light, to not view it in that feudal system that the British then brought here. And that's what we understood in Latin America. Our indigenous people had a primitive type of communism. It's not to say that Marx existed in a spiritual form in the 1500s. No, it's to say that Karl Marx isn't the father of communism. He didn't invent the idea of sharing. White people from Europe didn't come to the darkest part of Africa and Latin America and teach us poor, ignorant people the idea of sharing with one another. No, I'm sorry, As a matter of fact, we taught you guys that. And we gave you the potato. So, you owe us a lot. How about that? But in all seriousness, I can understand that struggle, and I understand what it is to deal with both sides of it, to have family on both sides of that type of struggle, and to realize that the commonality is there for the people that are willing to have that conversation, and that just like the Americans are, the British are very hesitant to have that open discussion without, framing it with all sorts of different arguments and attacks, because you just can't win an honest discussion.
De verdad ha empezado, peleando, liberando los pueblos encarcelados, golpe de Estado y seremos independientes. Es hora de revolución, nuevamente. See, that's the beautiful thing about hip-hop. I was speaking another language that 90% of people in this room don't speak, and yet you still felt the energy. You still felt the motherfucking spirit in your fucking heart. Just like this is the first time I've ever been to Ireland. I read a lot about what went on here, but that doesn't mean that I've experienced it myself. And yet the first time that I'm here, I can feel the struggle, I can feel the energy, I can feel the heart of the people.
We talk about having those honest discussions here in Ireland or in Eastern Europe or in the Balkans or in places that have lived under a colonial rule, that the first step is to educate people, to make them aware of all sides of the history, even those that don't make you look in the best light, you know. And if I can provide even a glimpse of that through the music that I make and touring around the world with all the squad of niggas that I have, or representing not just an aggressive kind of violent sound, but a music inside that, so it's not senseless violence, so it explains why we have violence, rather than try and justify the random occurrences of killings that destabilize countries and economies all over the world. For me personally, it's hard to balance things, but once you develop that discipline, I think you realize that that's what's necessary, because just having the talent to do this isn't enough. You have to have the drive and the sacrifice. That's what makes all the difference. Harlem, motherfucker!